Big right hand from Canelo blocks.
Body shot got through for Alvarez.
Canelo Alvarez. Viva Mexico, cabrones. Today is a historic day. And a historic one. Or yesterday was. This is like the residue of greatness. Canelo Alvarez has lost to Terrence Bud Crawford in the most spectacular fashion loss, in my opinion, 10-2. At least 10-2. You could say 11-1. You can say 12-0. That would be insane. But you can just say it was a unanimous ass whooping that Canelo Alvarez received. And that was probably the worst thing to happen to Canelo Alvarez ever. Now, the Floyd Mayweather loss, that was written off so easily because Canelo Alvarez was young. He was the up-and-coming champion. Though Floyd Mayweather moved up to face him, it was still like Floyd was that old king in the ring, and the Canelo was like the man trying to prove himself. In this fight, Canelo was, I think, a negative 3,000 betting favorite. Insane. And then he was the larger guy. It was like proposed that he was this giant in flesh, which he still is. But after getting like thrown around the ring, Crawford pushed him up against the ropes. He even pushed him off of him a few times. Knocked him, he didn't knock him off his feet, but knocked him off balance more than a few times. This was Crawford's greatest win and Canelo's greatest loss. This isn't like Dimitri Bivol where he's moving up, trying to fight and prove himself. This wasn't like Triple G, where a lot of people felt that it was a robbery, but he was like, he met his equal. Triple G didn't even do this to Canelo Alvarez. Understand that. Triple G, greatest chin in history. He's that guy that said in that meme, 44-0, 39 knockouts, knocked out every single opponent in the last 8 years, hasn't lost since he started boxing. From that meme where you're in the guy that you don't want to be facing, you're in the ring with the guy you don't want to be facing. He's that guy. Triple G didn't even do that to Canelo Alvarez. And now we're left with the disappointing question of what now? Now, I thought Canelo was going to retire. He said, I accomplished a lot in boxing. I did everything I need to prove. My legacy is cemented. It sounded like he was going to box. No, he was going to retire. But then he said he's going to continue boxing. And honestly, I don't even know what he does at this point. This son is fucking... Hey, man, the light of Crawford is here. But this son is insane. I didn't expect any of that. But now the question is, what now? Now that Canelo Alvarez has lost to the smaller welterweight nobody champion, what now? And I don't know. Now, Turkey Al-Sheikh, damn, this son is actually messing up everything for me. I don't know. I'm gonna hold it like this. Now that Canelo Alvarez has lost all the belts at super middleweight, has lost to the smaller man, what is next? Now, Turkey Al-Sheikh said he wanted to see Hamza Shiraz versus Canelo, and he also wanted to see I guess Mbili, but Mbili kind of messed that up with Lester Martinez. Also want to speak about that. But at the end of the day, I think Canelo loses to Hamza Shiraz after seeing that. It's the same problem with David Benavidez, where you have this very tall fighter going against a shorter guy. And yes, Canelo's probably stronger than Hamza. But the fact is, does Canelo still have the speed, the power, and now the confidence to go against Hamza Shiraz? Hamza's coming off an insane knockout over, let that sound get by first, over Berlanga, and Berlanga's no Canelo Alvarez, but the fact stands is one man is feeling very unconfident from losing to a welterweight. I don't think Hamza loses to Crawford. I can't say anything about Crawford. He just did the impossible. Is the sun good now? He just did the impossible. But I don't know what Canelo Alvarez, who he fights next, to start to build his self-confidence. There's Resendez. I guess that's a good Mexican fight to have in probably January, but that was all bad because Turkey Al-Sheikh had a plan for Canelo. He invested over $300 million in Canelo. He was planning to sign a contract after this fight, or after his third fight with TKO Boxing. But I mean, all of that can still happen, but all of that momentum was just lost. And where did you go from now? He was heading to TKO first boxing card. They wanted him to headline more cards to get their no-name fighters a bit of more shine. But I don't believe that like people are going to stop supporting Canelo Alvarez. He just lost his main beneficial thing, all of his belts at 168. That's why he didn't go against Dimitri Bivol. That fight was supposed to be at super middleweight. That's because Dimitri wanted Canelo's belts. And now we see that maybe Canelo is fading a bit. Nothing taken away from Crawford. That wasn't supposed to happen in any version of Canelo. But maybe Canelo is going a little bit, you know, he isn't the same fighter he once was. And now, I guess he fights Lester Martinez. I guess he fights Hamza. But what if he loses again? Then what does that do to the morale of Canelo Alvarez? Because if you wasn't watching those embedded, those before the fight clips, this man was being flown out by Lamborghini. He has a compound in Las Vegas. He was doing four-wheelers on. This man was running high. He was I remember this quote from Sean Zittle. He was quoting Marvin Hagler that it's hard to fight when you're waking up in silk pajamas, but Canelo's been walking around in silk pajamas for the last 5 years. So what kind of, and then we see this happen, and if Canelo takes another loss, is he going to have the confidence to keep on fighting after that? If Crawford comes back, he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. That's undeniable. But if he comes back and loses to, who's up next? I guess Hamza Shiraz and Resendez. If he's not losing to Resendez, but if he loses to Hamza Shiraz, if he doesn't retire, which he should, if he loses to Hamza Shiraz, nobody cares. It's just a passing of the torch. It is what it is. That was not a passing of the torch. That was not supposed to happen. That was the fantasy becoming reality. And so this is all strange, and it's going to be difficult to see what Canelo Alvarez does next, because this was probably the biggest letdown in boxing of this century, of the 2000s. This was bigger than Roy Jones going to heavyweight. This was bigger than Floyd Mayweather fighting Manny Pacquiao. This was bigger than Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. This is bigger than all of those. Maybe not in size, but in just the magnitude of this win, the magnitude of this loss. Shouts out Bud Crawford, man. Shouts out.